Hey guys, Kai Wiffy here, and today I'll be showing you how to tack up and saddle fit your horse. We're going to start with this first saddle over here, and I'm just going to take it off the rack. Nice and light. When you're putting it on your horse, you want to be as light with it, just because I don't have a pad right now. This is the saddle fitting part of it. So you're just going to swing it over as gently as possibly. And the stirrup got caught under. And you don't want it to go on the shoulder blade, you want it to be behind it so that it doesn't pinch the withers and then turn his fur white. And you want to be able to fit your hand under the saddle horn so that it's not pinching. You'd want it to be as flat as possible when he's walking, otherwise if it's teeter-tottery it could not be sitting right on him. So far it looks pretty good. This is an available option for him to ride with. But I think we might have a saddle that fits him a little bit better, so I'm going to get that one instead. But first, let's put this one back up on the saddle and then grab another one. When you do put a saddle on the horse, you just swing it over. And now we're going to grab the next saddle. Again, you're just going to do it as lightly as possibly over your horse's back. You've got to swing it over a little bit depending on how heavy or light your saddle is. You got to get the stirrup out from under your horse. This one I can't really stick my hand under, so it is very much going to be pinching him. So that's not a good sign. And it's not the flattest saddle either, so I don't think we're going to walk this one with him, just so that it doesn't pinch him. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one back up on the fence, and we're going to try one other saddle that I think will fit him better. Now for our third saddle. Again, you're doing it as lightly as possible over the horse's back so that it doesn't hurt him. Third time, I keep getting that stirrup caught under him. Still, you're wanting to keep it behind the shoulder blade. I can fit my hand. You also want to be able to put your hand under the saddle behind his shoulder blade without it getting pinched. It looks pretty flat. There was room under the saddle horn. It's a little teeter-tottery there because I didn't realize that the girth was caught under it. But once I fix that, you'll notice that it rides a little flatter and his ears are perked up, which means he's happy with the ride, which is good. So I think that's the saddle that fits him the best. So we're going to use this one to tack up now. So I'm going to take the saddle off to put the saddle pad on. Oh, thought I dropped something there. Keep getting that stirrup caught. Okay, so for the saddle pad, I think it is better if you get a little bit thicker of one. I've had to double up on saddle pads before. It's the same thing with the saddle, you just go over the horse with it as lightly as possible. This adds padding. You want it to line up with the horse. And then we're going to go ahead and grab the saddle. And even though there is a pad, you still want to go light across its back with the saddle, just so it doesn't hurt the horse. Again, behind the shoulder blade. And you don't want to be able to put your hand between the saddle pad and the saddle. You want there to be no room between the saddle and the saddle pad. You want there to be room between the saddle pad and the horse. You also want to be able to put your hand under and not feel any pinching. You want to be able to have either 3 fingers or a hand length between the saddle and the saddle pad. It's okay if there's not as much saddle pad behind the saddle. Now I'm just going to lower the girth a little bit so I can get it on from the other side. Now I'm going to lower the latigo and put it through the girth. You want the rings on the girth to be centered with the stomach of the horse. And you just go from the girth to the D-ring until it looks tight enough. Beware that when you do this, your horse can hold its breath some, so I would recommend doing some groundwork or something to get your horse's mind off of it and then retightening it. You don't want it to be long enough where it can touch the ground because your horse could step on it. He has a bit room left, so I'm going to lobe it one more time. One way to keep it in place is to put it in the notch from the girth. You want to be able to put 3 fingers into the girth without feeling a pinch. And he's just faking. He's not really feeling any pain when I do this. He just likes to fake it out. So again, I'm just faking it and he has a big reaction for absolutely no reason. So I put it in the hole in the girth, but if your latigo doesn't have a hole, then you can use the latigo tail and go through the D-ring. Flip up the stirrup so you can see a little better. So you go through the D-ring and pull out, go in front of it, and then go behind it, and then pull up, and then go in that loop you just made and pull down. And that will keep your latigo in place if you don't have any holes in the latigo. Another way to do this is to put it in the keeper with the bubble method. You go up through the keeper and then back down, creating a bubble. That way the bubble can't go back through the keeper. Another way I've seen this done is to go right down through the keeper, but I've seen that come out a few times. Another way to do it, if it's not long enough to reach the keeper, is to go behind the first loop you made and then just wrap it around there and then through. My favorite method is going to be the bubble. So I go up and then back down with it. To adjust your stirrup, it's usually about the length from your hand touching the saddle to your armpit. And then you just take off this nice tight strap. That's hard to undo. So after you get that off, you can unclip this from the stirrup and adjust it to the height that you think will be best for you. You can adjust this later as well. So once you get it set to a good height, you can also adjust that piece to get it to where there's no bubbles. And then you put that piece back on so that it's all compacted and it doesn't catch on anything or come undone. So once you get this piece back on there, you're done with the stirrup. There we go. Okay. the strip's good. If you notice that your saddle pad has sunk and is now there's room between the horn and the saddle pad, you should adjust this before hopping on. So all you have to do, you don't have to completely undo the girth, you just loosen up the latigo some. And then you can pull up on the saddle pad. If you can't reach over your horse, then you can go in front of it and pick up both the corners of the saddle pad and push up. And then just retighten the girth again back into the bubble method. And there we go. So if your horse has a double back cinch on your saddle, you don't want it to be so tight where it squeezes in the horse's belly, but you also don't want it to be loose where it can get a hoof caught there. Also, if you have a breast collar that you want to use, you want to put it, there's usually a little ring for that looks something like that up there on your saddle. But since this saddle doesn't have it, I use the keeper. And then once you have that undone, you can put it through the keeper. He's a smaller horse, so I double loop this. And then I have to put it on the very top hole. And then you can attach it to the girth underneath. You want 3 fingers in between the breast collar and the horse, so that way it's not too tight but also not too loose. You want to attach it to the girth. It can go in the front or in the back, but because he is smaller, I like to attach it to the back. And now you have to go around your horse and grab it from the other side of the saddle. You never want to go under the lead rope. So again, I have to double loop it on the keeper. Not wanting it to be too tight or too loose. And then to the top hole again. You want it to be the same amount of holes on both sides so that it's not uneven. Oh, that's a little tighter than I thought it was. I think I'm going to loosen it up 1 hole on both sides. It could just be the way he was standing then, but it did end up being a little on the loose side, so I did end up changing this in the next scene. Breast collars are usually just for looks. Sometimes it can help the saddle stay in place a little bit better though. That's all I have for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will be doing the bridle in the next part of the video. I hope you enjoyed and you were able to learn something today. Bye!